Hello and welcome back to Honey Spoke, your cozy corner for timeless stories. This week we're going into Chapter 6 of Woodside by Caroline Hadley. I did just want to say that this chapter has no new photos. Chapter 6, Wasps and Their Ways. An elegant shape is yours, Sir Wasp, and delicate is your wing. Your armor is brave, in black and gold, but we do not like your sting. C.H. The next morning, Jack went to see how the new hive had settled, and he found everything going on as usual. The bees were very busy, flying in and out and working hard to build the cells of their new home. The gardener was working near, and he said, "Master Jack, did you ever see a wasp nest?" Jack shook his head. "Well now, if you come into my cottage, I'll show you one this evening. It's not a very good one, for it got broken digging it out of the ground in one of the garden paths. We'd been terribly plagued with wasps for weeks, and it was some time before we could find the nest. We watched them go into a hole in the ground. So one evening, when they'd all gone to bed, we got some pitch and brimstone and laid them with some lighted sticks on the top of that hole. The wasps woke up and came out to see what was going on, but they were smothered by the brimstone smoke and were soon done for. The next day we dug out the nest." "Wasps are great pests, Master Jack, I can tell you. They are very fond of honey, and they go into the beehives to steal it, especially when the mornings and evenings get cool, and the bees are not watching at the holes of their hives because they've gone inside to keep themselves warm. The wasps spoil a lot of fruit. If there's one peach finer than another, they know it. And as for the plums, green gages in particular, why, they are as mad after them as the birds are for the cherries. What with the caterpillars and slugs being after the vegetables, and the birds and the wasps making such havoc with the fruit, I wonder sometimes how we ever get any for ourselves." "There always seems plenty of fruit and vegetables, though," said Jack. "Well, yes," said the gardener. "Maybe. The birds do help us with caterpillars and slugs, I'm bound to own. And then we are always on the lookout to destroy wasps. And as to the birds, I dodge them with netting, and sometimes we take the nests out of the fruit trees, as much as to tell them to go elsewhere." That evening, Jack went into the gardener's cottage and saw the wasp nest. It looked like the cells of bees made in whitey brown paper. "What is it made of?" asked Jack. "It isn't wax." "Well, I've heard that the wasp, which has very strong jaws, bites bits of wood off posts and rails and moistens them by chewing them into a kind of paper, and then makes a comb of it like what you see here. I wish I had seen this wasp's nest taken." "No, Master Jack. Why, you'd be in bed at that time. Besides, I don't suppose your grandmama would have let you go, even if you had been here, for you might have been stung. It's rather a touchy job, is taking a wasp's nest. Very different from hiving bees. We give them a home, but we take one from the wasps. If the queen bee falls into the new hive, the bees are right enough. They are sure to go where she is, but the wasps are naturally angered and frightened at being suffocated out of their home. So I say, keep clear of wasp nest. Those jobs are best done on the quiet." "Was anybody stung when this nest was taken?" "Yes, your grandma was. She's naturally curious about such things, and came with your grandpa to see the sight. One half-stupefied wasp settled on her hair, and she didn't know it, but after she got back to the house, it revived a bit and moved, and she, not knowing what it was, touched it, and it stung her badly on the top of her head. I don't think wasps will sting unless they are touched, but they are such creepy things that you don't always know where they are, and you are apt to touch them without meaning to do so." The next morning at breakfast, Jack was talking about the wasp's nest that he had seen on the evening before at the gardener's cottage. Grandma remarked, "There is a kind of wasp called the mason wasp, which bores holes several inches deep in sandbanks. The inside of this long narrow passage is covered with a gummy paste which the wasp makes with her mouth. Here she lays her eggs, and then brings some green caterpillars into the holes, ready for the young wasps to eat when they come out of the egg. Then she closes the holes by a ball of sand so that nothing can get in to eat the young grub. Sometimes these wasps choose a brick wall instead of a sandbank for their eggs. A friend of mine watched one of these wasps in her wall in her garden. She saw the wasp go into a small round hole in the mortar between the bricks. After a few minutes she walked out of the hole, turned round, and went in again backwards. There she stayed, her little horns and bright eyes being all that could be seen of the wasp. My friend tried to make the wasp come out of the hole, but nothing could move her. So then she had to go away, but not before she had put a mark by the spot. The next morning she went back to the wall and found the wasp had gone and had carefully and cleverly covered up her hole with what looked like mortar. The lady then took a penknife and scraped away this door to the hole. She then put in a fine crochet hook, and out tumbled no fewer than 15 small green living caterpillars. At last, quite the back of the hole, she found a small oval thing, something like an ant's egg, only more transparent. That was the wasp's egg, and the caterpillars were for its food when it was hatched, which would be in about 3 weeks. "Don't wasps make honey?" asked Annie. "No. The common wasp feeds her very young grubs upon the sweet juice of ripe fruit. In fact, they like fruit over ripe, and that is why they choose plums and pears and peaches that have fallen down to the ground. It is dangerous to eat any ripe fruit that has fallen, without first looking to see if there is a wasp inside it. But the young wasps soon want green caterpillars and flies to eat, and many a bluebottle fly is killed by wasps. If wasps don't store up honey for the winter, what do they live upon when there are no insects about?" asked Mary. "When the fruit is all gone and the nights get cold, about the beginning of October, then some instincts tell them what to do, for only a few of them live through the winter. The wasps cease to bring in any more food for the young. They tear open the cells and expose the young grubs to the weather when they die or the birds eat them. Generally they pinch them to death, for they will not let them live to die of starvation, and while they are in this state they do not feel pain, so what looks like cruelty is really kindness. The full-grown wasps soon become sleepy with cold and die off, all but the few which live to be the mothers of the wasp next year." That was the end of Chapter 6 of Woodside by Caroline Hadley. I hope you guys enjoyed this chapter, and I hope to see you next week for Chapter 7.